Good morning. Guten Morgen. Guten Morgen.
Good morning, sir.
It's we're going to be watching a little slideshow here this morning on a film that we watched this weekend. Anima and I'd been waiting to watch it, and I remember when I first heard they were making this into a film, and I saw the name Damian Lewis attached to the title of the film. I was like, "Oh my God, Damian Lewis is going to play him! Oh my God!" No, the guy who wrote the book, his name is Damian Lewis. No relation. At least none that I'm aware of.
I'm glad you waited, because it's not that often that we get to do a first watch together. Usually you've seen the stuff that we watch.
Right.
So that was nice.
That just like a woman in love.
Jesus, fuck you. There you go. First F-bomb, 2 minutes in.
I just watched it this morning.
I got to tell you.
Yeah, we watched last night.
I enjoyed this film. I did. But my goodness. I love one of the quotes because I gave you that link to read. And here, I'm going to hand it out to you guys in the private chat. It is a great little read. There you go. This film is absolutely based on real people, based on an actual mission. They involve Ian Fleming, who played a far more significant role in the creation than they show in the film of this group. And he did not answer to the one general. He answered to another general in real life. And I thought that was really weird. It was his brother, who also worked for the British military, who answered directly to that one general. But the thing I thought about it, and there's a great comment in here that it felt like I was watching someone play a video game on easy mode.
Yeah.
The way they cut the German. And they treated it like, because I got to tell you, to my knowledge, no shots were actually fired on that first operation, Operation Postmaster. To my knowledge, nobody on the team was killed or wounded, and no Germans were killed.
Now, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. The mission to go get the fella that he said he couldn't do it without.
That was actually somebody else later on, that mission. And again, in that one, to my knowledge, what I've read is that, and what was actually they talked about on that video too that we watched, Anima, that to all records, it shows that the Germans were so unprepared to just suddenly have commandos show up to take this prisoner that one even fainted. He was so shocked he fainted.
Sorry.
They all surrendered immediately, because when you have somebody come up on you fully armed and you're like having your fucking morning coffee, your will to fight at that point really hasn't kicked in yet. You need that caffeine. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but they were at war. Shouldn't they have been prepared at any time? There's a war going on. You should be alert.
No, there's no war. There was no war going on where they had that man a prisoner.
Yeah, I was fixing to say it was occupied
they were in
territory.
friendly land.
Yeah,
they were in friendly land to them, ally land to the Krauts. So they were caught completely off guard and surrendered immediately. And like I said, one of the guys, I think, was taking a shower and fainted.
Holy shit.
When he was suddenly faced with it.
We call that being.
There was a lot of. So you should read. Look, the name of the book is Churchill's Secret Warriors: The Explosive True Story of the Special Forces Desperados of World War II, and it is the inspiration for this film. The group were given the nickname the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, and they were brutal when they had to be.
Yeah.
And it is true that Anders did use a bow and arrow. but not to the degree that they show in the film. And it'd be ridiculous for him to have done that. When he goes into that ship and that's all he's got, and he's shooting people within the ship, bullshit. That never fucking happened. He would have died, and he would have got his guys killed that were with him doing that. What he would have used, it's the same thing you see with crossbows in combat. You've seen tactical crossbows. It's the same kind of thing. He asked permission because he was an avid hunter with the bow and arrow. Very good. And
you know what I saw? You know what I saw? I saw that scene in Wild Geese where they took out the guys in the towers with the sign.
That's exactly what he would have done. He would have used them when they had to be what do you call it? I just forgot the word. It's early morning. I'm just getting my caffeine in me. I'm like those Germans at when they're holding that guy prisoner. Just fainting. I would faint right now if somebody pulled a gun on me right now.
Oh shit.
But the stealth is the word I was looking for.
Yeah. Covert. Yeah.
Thanks for helping, guys. Thank you. You guys are so useful. So the only reason he would use that is because a lot of people think, oh, well, silencers make the gun silent. No, they don't. They make them quieter. But the fact is, because I've used suppressors, and I'm telling you now that you still hear that fucking weapon go off. It just doesn't have the piercing with it. You hear the mechanics of the weapon, especially if it's an automatic weapon. And by the way, nothing annoys me more than people referring to a 45 as a semi-automatic weapon. No, it is an automatic pistol. It's called automatic because it's an autoloader.
Yes.
It's not called automatic because it fires full automatic. Full automatic means full automatic. Yes. Automatic means it doesn't need to. I just get so sick of fucking idiots saying that. Well, it has semi-automatic feature to it, but the reason it's called an automatic pistol is because it loads automatically. So, but when you fire them, you still hear it.
Yeah.
And in fact, some of the older suppressors, the way they were designed, the more smoke and gases were being captured within the baffles of the suppressor, the more you fired, the louder the weapon got. But some of the newer suppressors are made better, and they can hold their sound. And I've watched a video just about a month ago showing a guy firing full automatic with one of these modern suppressors on it. And I'm like, boy, that maintained. Emptied a magazine on that thing. And I'm like, holy shit, it maintained. But it is still a very distinct sound. And if you're sleeping and it's fired near you, you will wake up, suppressed or not. So this film just shows them cutting through Germans like you and me cutting through cream cheese or butter.
Yeah.
Just it's ridiculous. The Germans would have put up a fight. And the way they were fighting, absolutely some of them would have got killed in this movie. There's no way they'd walk away from some of that stuff.
No.
Hyper realized. This is for excitement. The characters are real people. The operation is a real operation. Past that, this movie is absolute Hollywood bullshit. But God damn it, I enjoyed the shit out of it.
It's
I really did.
Fun bullshit.
Yep. Oh, they also infer in the film that what is her name, honey? I've got it here. Hold on. I'm going to give it. This is the real people here. This is Henry Cavill, real face, as in movie real. And there's Gus March Phillips. He was one of the people who inspired James Bond in real life.
I thought that part of the storytelling was cool. Yeah. How he always wanted to get the nicer stuff, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was cool.
He loved parties. He was killed in 1942, not long after Operation Postmaster. He married, let me see if I can find her. He married in real life the real.
Really?
Is it showing up yet? Because I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, it is.
I'm seeing it on my screen.
Yeah, it's Marjorie Stewart's the real person's name.
StreamYard. I fucking hate StreamYard and this shit. There we go. Marjorie Stewart was an English actress, and she was a member of the SOE. She remained a member of the SOE until I think 44. But she married Gus in 42, and he died the same year, was killed in action on another operation. She actually was not a member of the operation team. That was bullshit fiction. Also, she is not Jewish, which they try to infer within the film she is. By the way, Elsa Gonzalez is amazing. Elsa Gonzalez, yes, they did.
No,
yeah.
they not infer it. They stated plainly.
No, she didn't until later. She did not confirm it till later. What she did is she made a mistake while she was singing in Mac the Knife and used Yiddish instead of German. So she got caught.
Yes.
Earlier, you don't know if there was any truth to what she was saying.
Yes, wait.
She did not confirm it to us. Stop it.
Yes.
She did not confirm it. No, stop it. The confirmation didn't come till later when she was confronted.
You are
He
wrong.
didn't confirm a goddamn thing because she said she was joking. So therefore, as the audience, you have to take that as a joke. That's not a confirmation.
Stop yelling on me and just listen.
No, I'm telling you, stop saying that because it's not accurate. That's not
accurate. She says it in the reunion when they're recruiting Gus, she says she has a problem with Germans because her family, her Jewish family, was killed. She is half Jewish. Well, I did.
I thought you were referring to another scene. You should have started with that. In the scene where she was
you
just kept trying to argue with me rather than stating, like, right from the get-go, well, in the scene, and you would have gone. But anyway, I'm trying to get through these fucking things. So anyway, Alan Ritchson, she's not Jewish in real life. She wasn't. The actress Elsa Gonzalez also sings within the film, and that was added because Guy Ritchie discovered she can fucking sing. So she put that. He put that whole Mac the Knife scene in. Again, she did not see action. She is also the model for Miss Moneypenny, because Ian Fleming had always intended, just like in real life, that Bond would marry her. Originally. So going back to Alan Richardson, there is no rescue with him. He was just part of the team. That mission took place later. Might have been late 42, 43, and Gus, I don't think, was even there. I think he'd already been killed when they rescued that prisoner. And again, I'm going to tell you, the Germans offered zero resistance because they were so surprised, and one guy fainted. He was so surprised. He fainted.
That's embarrassing.
Again, this guy is based on a real person. And I got to be honest, I think the real guy is actually, in this case, is better looking than the actor that was picked to play him. Good role.
I think that's perfect casting. They're lookalikes.
This is, yes. He was an interesting character. And the one fictional character that they added to the team was the explosives expert. But when you look at it, they had to have had an explosives expert. So I don't know who it was because there's no record of it. And I don't know if it was like Gus himself who is the explosives expert. All I know is they had to have had an explosives expert to do what they were going to do. Mm-hmm. I like the way that they did their check marks in this movie in a way that was acceptable, with having her on the mission, even though in reality she never went on a mission. She was basically a military secretary, high classified level secretary. Right. And I don't think we even know exactly how she met Gus, because there's no, clearly she met him, possibly at parties, because he loved going to parties. He was a party guy. That's where a lot of the
in real
bomb thing
life,
came
yeah.
from.
She's
But I'm
Diana
going to
Prince.
tell you something. Before his death, Ian Fleming did say, who is the true inspiration for James Bond was his step cousin, Christopher Lee, who was a member of the SOE later. And he got involved with missions. All this stuff is real except for the killing of all the Germans. And again, I want to point out these guys cut to these Germans like they're not even there. It's like there are guys on this boat right now with weapons that fire full automatic.
I thought the same thing when I watched it.
Not really
they seem like NPCs.
They're not shooting back.
Yeah, they seem like NPCs in a video game. Yeah,
they're non-playable characters. It's kind of silly. It's just really kind of silly. But so another character who was kind of invented, he's based on a real person, the guy that owned the casino. He was not African. He was Spanish, as I recall.
Yeah.
He's one person that was race swap in the film. But I was okay with it. I really thought they did a terrific job. Look, man, this is a hyper real reality thing. And there you go.
This is supposed to be
by the way,
fun war movie, I think. Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Marjorie Stewart went on to be a semi-successful movie star after the war, because she was actually a real actress.
Huh.
Also, the casting of Carrie Elways as Gubbins was really interesting. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he is the inspiration to Ian Fleming's M, which is why he was called M.
Yeah. Notice that.
Look at that German officer wearing his hat all cockeyed there. It's weird.
Yeah.
And of course, Freddie Fox, the grandson of Edward Fox, plays Ian Fleming in the film. Edward and James Fox are British actors who also served in World War II.
Huh. Very cool. Yeah, this whole thing seemed like
I do like this scene.
It seemed like a mashup of Hogan's Heroes and Casablanca to me. And they were just trying to have fun with it. It's what it seemed like to me. What do you like about this scene?
Oh, I just really like the way they've been boarded by a bunch of Germans that think they're fagulas, as they would say in Yiddish.
And they're not taking it seriously at all. They're not scared. They're half drunk, laughing their asses off. The Germans so offended. When
Cavill just starts giggling when they've threatened to kill him, he just starts giggling. And what's his name? Anders just says, "We're in trouble now. They're going to kill you."
Yeah, he tells them, "Kill my friend," because he hates Germans, and they're both laughing. That's great.
He's just covered in blood. He is just so gory with the knives here.
But always when he's killing, he's splattered in blood. The others never are as bloody as he.
And now I will point out that even though it's hyper realized in this film, in reality, Anders hated Germans. He hated them with a passion, and he loved killing them. That is
this is so messed up.
And
he holds the dead
in
commander
real life, he did kill quite a few. Then he holds the body up, a weekend at Bernie's to wave at the Germans. And Cavill's going, "I don't think they're buying it, old man." But then we discover that the explosives expert has been over there planting bombs. And finally, they're getting shot at, and they're like, "Oh, is this going to hit us soon or not?" You know, and
he says he put the bomb right where the explosives on the ship are. So when it goes boom, and it does. So
that opening scene, though, it tells you what the movie's all about. Though you're going to have fun. It's not meant to be taken seriously.
It is a fun movie.
Yeah, it's not meant to be taken seriously.
Yeah, it's like I've forgotten about talking about the audience here, the chat. So we got Penny is here, we got Snorted Poopus is here, D Bud Martin. How are you guys doing this morning? We got Sci-Fi Mombi has dropped in. My goodness. I'm scrolling through them. Yep, there's Andy. Andy is here.
And Wade with a breach.
Yeah, Wade has dropped in. Apparently, we could not find any backdoor references in this movie. So
nope. No
None?
backdoor.
There were points where I was busy working on stuff and doing shit. And so I missed some very interesting stuff at the beginning. But
I'm always on
by the
backdoor
time we
watch
got to the middle of the film, I told her, watch for any backdoor references.
There was none.
But you know what? That map right there, that was interesting to me. I didn't know that they had occupied that much territory, man.
In Africa? Oh, yeah.
Wow. I didn't think they had that much of Africa. I was like, damn. Did they ever get Nigeria, or were they not trying to? Because I noticed that was still blue on that map.
Went the French there?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, the French, who were feared by the Germans.
Yeah, I had no idea that they had taken that much of Africa. I knew they went into North Africa.
I really appreciated, by the way, over on Brian's channel the other day, they were talking about D-Day. And they went into detail about how the Vichy French were killing Americans on D-Day. And they sided deeply with the Germans, the Yazis, and had sold their soul to Hitler. And so they never showed that in any film, the French being involved in combat killing.
They never do.
Trying to kill and killing Americans.
They always show the French as some guy along the trail that helps the Americans. That is like the definition of the French part in almost every World War II movie.
And I remember Brian, I think it was Brian, it could have been Pope that made the joke that the funny thing about the French underground was sometimes the French underground was killing other members of the French underground because they were on the wrong side. They were the French underground fighting for the bad guys. So crazy stuff. Duplicitous people.
Yep.
Fernando Poe.
The thing I loved about this scene right here, though, is he keeps reaching for the good stuff every time. He even gets the guy's jacket before he walks out of there, didn't he?
Yep. Now, again, this guy right here is a fictionalized person. There was a guy that owns the casino, but it was not. He was not a black man. It was as I recall, he's Spanish, I think. Maybe even Italian.
The Spaniards there, if I remember, according to the movie, there were.
Well, there are Italians there too. But anyway, I wanted to read this by Snorted Poopus. The maps of Africa are misleading. The cities and towns could be occupied in sections of the coast, but most of the North Africa was a great big empty, full of emptiness. Yeah.
Well, still, if you help the cities, you help the whole country.
Yep. And that's what they mean.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, they could have just made, people wonder where the white South Africans came from. It was the Dutch and Germans.
Especially Dutch.
That's why they have such an interesting, weird accent.
They have a weird language with all the clicking.
Now, there's the guy that's fictionalized. He's not based on anyone in particular. But they would have needed somebody on some of their operations that was an explosives expert. I guess he just never got known.
He nuked that boat in the opening scene. That was awesome.
And both of these guys in real life were not big, muscular dudes. They were your average size men.
Oh, he's ridiculously big. The guy who played Richard, he's a giant. Everything looks so small in his hands, even the rifle.
Giant pussy, apparently.
You said that.
I'm not judging him. I'm just saying apparently.
Allegedly.
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 Yeah, I love.
And this has that
show
Dirty
he's
Dozen
on.
feel to it as well. What?
No, I was just saying I love that show he's on, but I can't pay attention to that guy. Really can't.
No, he's got problems. During the press tour for this, he decided to attack half the audience. At least
And
half.
that I don't understand. But that's a conversation for another day. But the whole feel of this movie, it just didn't feel like a typical Guy Ritchie movie. About the only thing that seemed Guy Ritchie was the soundtrack. And that was about it to me. I mean, it's definitely
Dutch
an ode
and
to other
Afrikaans.
things.
Yeah. Dutch and Afrikaans sound like German being spoken by someone with severe bronchitis.
No. I'm sorry, Snorty. No.
Joe, for me, the only thing that resembled a Guy Ritchie movie was the banter.
Yeah.
All the dialogue is more banter than dialogue.
Oh, the banter. Yeah, because look, this is more of a film that looks like something Quentin Tarantino would have done. It's hyper realized. On top of that, they go for the Ennio Morricone sounding soundtrack. That is not a Guy Ritchie thing. That's a Quentin thing. So I almost feel like this was his nod to Quentin Tarantino. I don't know what that was up with that. This does not come off as a Guy Ritchie film because Guy Ritchie typically would have had guys that were smaller in these roles, these tough guy roles, not these hyper sized.
If it was Tarantino, it would be gorier too.
Yeah.
It gets pretty fucking gory, my friend. You actually see Alan Richardson holding a human heart that he cut out of somebody's chest.
Well, yeah.
While the person was still alive. You hear him scream while he cuts out the heart. That was
pretty fucking gory.
Yep.
And she goes, "Did he just stab that man in the privates?" No, yes, he did.
Yeah, he stabbed one guy in the
that man right in
the And he screamed funny.
I must have missed the part with the heart because I didn't see that part.
That's when they free the guy who has the clamps on the nipples to the car battery. When they free him, he stabs one of them in the trunk and cuts out.
Well, the kind of the ridiculous thing in that scene is in real life, they wouldn't have clamped that to the guy's shirt to his nipples.
No.
That guy would have been shirtless and it would have clamped directly to his nipples. It was kind of weird that they did that.
It's an American movie. They couldn't show his nipples like that. Americans are scared of nipples.
Here you go. Yes, Keith is right. This is Guy Ritchie's Inglourious Basterds.
Yeah.
Hey, Keith.
But it didn't have those tones that he puts in visually, like I always go back to the second Sherlock Holmes movie where they're running through the woods and all the camera play and everything. Yeah. Yeah, but useful slow-mo, not like Snyder slow-mo, something that
because it's trying to let you see what's really happening. When they're running through the woods, you want to see those bullets hit those trees and the bullets zipping past them. That is a great moment. I did enjoy the shit out of that. That's in the second film, right?
Yeah, that's in the second one when Moriarty's actually putting his war plans into place, and they find the munitions place and everything.
Try to push and build what
we don't have
World War I.
Camera play like that in this movie. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, there's just none. This is an odd Guy Ritchie film, and I worry that maybe that's one of the things that hurt it. Word of mouth was out there. I just don't understand why this movie tanked, because it's everything you want in a it's a popcorn movie.
Yeah, it shouldn't have tanked.
I think he should have. I think if he had gone for a more down to earth, less hyper realized, I think maybe the film would have done better. I think people went in with expectations of a Guy Ritchie film, and they got something that they weren't prepared for.
They got a Dirty Dozen movie, and they got something that was a little bit cleaner, a little bit more aesthetically clean, and his stuff is kind of dirty, kind of gritty most of the time.
Well, one of my favorite
older movies.
Guy Ritchie films of the last decade is actually The Gentleman.
Yeah.
I really like that film. Matthew McConaughey.
Haven't seen that one yet. I want to see it, though.
It's very good. And then watch the series. After the movie, watch the series, because the series is inspired by, not associated with, the movie. But I was going to go look to see what the box office was, the final. It's really sad. This movie just died. Horrible death.
It really shouldn't have. That's sad. Yeah, right, Penny? That was a fun movie to watch.
What one? Oh, this one.
Penny just said she had fun watching this movie. And yeah, it is fun. It shouldn't have tanked. It's just wrong.
And, you know, supposedly we enjoy watching Yahtzees get smoked.
Oh, yeah. That's always enjoyable.
All right, here we go. Man, that is bad. Domestic opening was $8 million.
What was the budget?
The worldwide, the cumulative worldwide box office was $25,885,290. That's bad.
What was their budget?
I think it was like $100 million.
Oh, ouch. Hey, Pope.
Hey, Pope.
Hey, guys. Sorry I'm late.
Hey,
You're
Pope.
here. That's what counts.
A Pope is never late.
You're
Not
full
exactly.
time. Like Keith is on Keith.
Yes,
time.
he's a Marine. Marines show up when they're supposed to show up.
Well, you know how it works. You know how it works, Gerry. I mean, the higher rank you are, the later you show up to formation.
You are. That's right. Yeah, it wasn't $100 million. It was $60 million. They shot this on a modest budget for this kind of film, and
That explains the crappy day to night shooting. I hated that.
But oh my God, they probably only broke even with video on demand and media sales. You know, like DVD, Blu-ray. I'm just saying they probably just broke even, because they only made 25 million, technically 26 million. When you round up, you round up if it's above 5. If it's below 5, you round down.
Fair.
And so it's 25.8. So I'd round that up to 26 billion. God damn, man. But again, you know, because Pope wasn't here, I'm going to go back into this, that the film is hyper realized. It is based on a real operation with 90% of the people in the movie, the main characters are real people. The explosives expert is fictional, although they had to have had one. There's just unmentioned as that guy right there. I love that one. Shoots 2 guys with 1 arrow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That
Goes
was
to the
awesome.
first guy, killing him, and sticks the guy in the back to the crate. Now, this is where it would be useful. And by the way, Anima asked what that is on his arm. I said, that is it's because I wore one. I was an archer. And it protects your forearm.
Yep.
When you
Yeah, I haven't seen that before. So.
Because it'll sometimes swipe across them. Yep. And the I've just forgot what they're called. Oh my God. The feathers on the back are called
fletching.
No.
Quills?
Fletching, thank you. Fletching can go right up against your forearm, and if they're firm, they'll cut you like a razor blade.
Well, it's not even that. The heavier draw bows, like an actual old school war bow,
the string will fucking hurt you.
Oh, the string will literally flay the skin off your arm.
Yeah,
Ouch.
because I fired a 75-pound recurve, and that sucker, boy, I was glad I had it a couple of times because it banged into me.
I remember my buddy's really into old school archery, and he has like a 120-pound war bow. I could barely hold.
That was that a recurve or a compound?
No, longbow.
Oh my god!
So like I could barely get it all the way back, and I could hold it there for like 2 seconds.
That's ridiculous, man.
That's one of my pet peeves with movies is showing.
I'm curious why it didn't get released in the UK.
That's weird.
You'd think it
right
would
there.
It
didn't get released in the UK.
The movie?
Why did? Yeah.
That's weird.
If anything, you'd think they'd only
man.
release it there. It's a British unit.
Yeah, it's just the British are that country's in a fucking hurt. I love this. He cooks this grenade and just tosses it in.
Yep.
We don't see, we hear what happens in there.
That's enough.
And my God, in real life, the real Gus had a mustache. He didn't have a beard. But I love the way he looks.
Snidely Whiplash mustache with a beard on top.
Of course they do.
I love him wanting to get this coat and hat. It just cracks me up in the movie.
Yes.
I want one of those.
Yeah, and then he comes out of that cabin wearing the coat, and he likes it.
It's called a barracks.
Barracks, yeah.
It's a barracks. That's okay. You're non-military, so it's forgiven.
You can get away with it, Anima. We can't.
But my favorite thing he does when he's firing his little submachine gun there is just the sticking out of his fucking tongue like some Pacific warrior.
That's what I'm
his tongue
saying.
all the way out.
They're acting like they're having fun doing all this shit.
They probably were.
Oh, they did. They had fun.
Now, Pope, you weren't here when it was said earlier, because it is. I'm not the only one who said this. That this looked like you're watching somebody play a video game on easy mode.
Yeah.
The way they were just cutting through the Germans. The Germans, I'm like, come on, man, show the Germans fight back a little. You know, create some more fictional commandos so they can die in combat. Because this is so weird. Clamp to his nipples through his shirt is fucking
yeah, through his shirt. Now that I see it again, it looks stupid as shit.
Yeah.
Stupid as shit. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Who would do that? Nobody.
Exactly? Were you pinching the shirt like this to try and find them?
Yeah, you got to pinch it. There they are. There they are.
Too funny, man. Oh my gosh.
And it's very hyper real. Again, like even casting Alan Richardson and Henry Cavill, they're hyper real. They're just unrealistically muscular for commandos in World War II. You might see that today with SEALs and Delta Force and all of that shit, Marine Recon, you know, and they do have their own version of the SAS in the Marines. I forget what they're called.
Force Reconnaissance.
Yes, and Force Recon. That's what I said a minute ago. Force Recon.
Yep. Yeah,
but it seems like they have another name. There's another name.
Oh, now they have the Raiders that are basically associated with SOCOM rather than just the Marines.
Right. These are highly trained Tier 1 operators in the Marine Corps. and it's kind of interesting because I just thought, Force Recon are some tough, badass hombres, and that they weren't the tier ones kind of surprised me. That basically each company, it's like the SEALs don't do numbers anymore. They stopped doing that after the White House betrayed them and announced that, yes, it was SEAL Team 6 that killed bin Laden. And giving up that information
that as soon as that
forced the Navy to change it.
Yeah.
They had to change it.
Just like
that's
Delta,
why in the show, SEAL Team, they're called Team Bravo.
Yeah.
And they're not Team 6 or any of that. And we're unsure of how many teams there were, because that's one of the greatest secrets of the U.S. Navy is how many SEALs there actually are. They don't want that known. Delta Force is, and I'm not saying this because I'm Arnie, it's just because I've done my due diligence in research, is that the closest thing, SAS is the best special forces out there, tier 1 operators. The closest to them is the people that they trained. The U.S. Army's Delta Force. Delta Force was trained, they trained with and still train with SAS. And that's why you see them in so many operations. Everybody always hears about Navy SEALs. It's like Delta Force is out there. They're in a constant state of warfare. And people don't understand what that means. It's not a constant state of readiness. They're in a constant state of committing war on people. And the Philippines is one area where our special forces are always at. Marines, Army, and Navy. Fucking always doing shit in the Philippines, killing bad guys. Because
as far as what Delta does, one of the most famous things they've done, not like covert things they've done, is you guys remember who killed Pablo Escobar?
Yeah.
That was not Colombians.
Yep.
No.
And if you look at the picture of
no,
them,
in fact,
the team that went on the raid, they all look very white and tall for Colombians.
They're very white and tall. They are. So, look, when you hear things, and I've said this on this show many times, when you hear that somebody died in a helicopter crash recently, that wasn't a crash. You will never hear the truth of what happened. And odds are, if this leader just suddenly is killed, you can bet Americans had something to do with it.
Especially somebody that, is a constant pain in our ass. And, oh, look, they just happened to die in a random car explosion or, helicopter crash. Oh, that's a shame.
I think one of my favorite fictional ones, if you guys ever read it, I think it was Executive Orders, Tom Clancy's Executive Orders, if I remember correctly. And at the end of that, Chavez and Clark guide a missile right in on the bad guy as the president is calling him, Jack Ryan. Says, I'm watching you right now on my closed circuit television, and you can see it from the missile's perspective as it goes in and hits him on his balcony. He's like having his breakfast. Wow. What's that?
I know it's one of the Jack Ryan novels. I just can't remember what
it is. It's the one where he becomes president. And that's how that book ends.
Yeah, that is Executive Orders, I believe.
That's it. Okay, Executive Orders. Dean Chavez and Clark fucking kill that guy with a rocket. A guided rocket. That was great.
Yeah.
Now this guy, Anima doesn't like this guy. What is his name?
Til Schweiger. He can't act.
Schweiger.
He's always playing himself.
I enjoy the shit out of this guy.
I like him too.
He always plays interestingly weird characters.
He was okay in this movie. My problem with him is he's making fun movies that just aren't fun. German movies. They're just not good and not funny.
Yeah, because he's friends with Uwe Boll, the German filmmaker.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Who is just terrible. And he's in that movie because he loves adapting video games. And he was in that one that deals with the video game that dealt with you're injected with something that starts making you mutate.
He's Far Cry.
Far Cry. He was the main character in the first one. And I kind of liked it. It was unusual for me to like a Uwe Boll film because I think he's a garbage director. I also liked him in Postal, and my buddy Zach Ward is the star of that movie. So maybe that has something to do with it. It's people that I like are in it, and then I'm like, okay, I can put it. But I like Jason Statham, and I didn't like Name of the King. Fucking hated it. And Burt Reynolds is in it too. What a piece of shit movie.
That movie,
Uwe Boll believes that if
he done really badly,
he wants to box his fucking critics. Like, oh, beating them in a fight proves your movie is good. No, your movie is still garbage. You're just good at fighting. Well done, Uwe Boll.
Right?
It's Uwe. Jesus.
He's crazy.
Took me a while to recognize that name, Gerry. It's Uwe, not Uwe.
I don't care. It's not that important to me. I get people tell me different ways to pronounce his name, and I'm like, look, man, I just see it. It's UWE. And
my favorite video game adaptation he did is Blood Rain. That trilogy is my guilty pleasure. I love that.
I kind of half enjoyed the first movie.
Michael Pere's in every one of them, but you can't recognize him. He's changed so much from when he was young.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was going to be a big star. He was going to be the next Travolta. Yeah. He did a great movie in the 80s. Well, first of all, he's in a film that we will have my friend Victoria Rhodes back on is what was that rock and roll sci-fi movie with motorcycles and shit?
Oh, dude, man, that's Streets of Fire. Yeah.
Streets of Fire. Perry was great in that.
Walter Hill.
And then he did Eddie. He played Eddie, the rock and roll icon who just disappears and he's refound one day.
Eddie and the Cruisers. Yep.
Eddie and the Cruisers. Was that it? Eddie and the Cruisers.
Yep.
Good film. He should have been a movie star, and he wasn't.
Yeah, he
started doing straight-to-video movies by the 90s.
I know you like sci-fi. He was in a movie called The Philadelphia Experiment that was pretty
Moon
good
44. Oh, that one too. He was in that one, but he's also in Moon 44.
Yeah.
Which is the German director that made Anonymous and Midway and Independence Day and all those other films.
I love Streets of Fire.
Roland Emmerich. Yeah, Roland Emmerich. That was his first American movie. Was Moon 44, and he met the writer that he worked with to make Independence Day on that film because he was an actor in the movie, and that's how the two of them became friends and started working together. I think their friendship ended or something because they just kind of stopped working together, the two of them.
There were so many talented people involved in Streets of Fire, though. Walter Hill was the director. Jim Steinman, the guy behind Meatloaf's music, was the guy that did most of the music for the soundtrack. I mean, it had other popular. It had a #1 hit with "I Can Dream About You" by Dan Hartman. I mean, I was in love with homegirl Diane Lane back then. Oh my God, she was gorgeous. And
you mean Martha? Martha?
Yes, Martha. And a very pale. Yes, Martha. And a very, very pale Willem Dafoe, when we didn't really know who he was.
Willem Dafoe,
I don't even think he had done To Live and Die in L.A. yet when he was in that movie. So
yeah, those are his two introductions to fans. You're going to fall in love with me. My name is Willem Dafoe.
Yes. My daughter calls him Smoochie Dafoe.
My God, he's good. I don't know who would want to smooch with him. God, that guy's got a creepy face, but brilliant.
He does.
Actor.
He does.
He's one of those actors that
he did a film. What?
He's one of those actors that is just amazing in everything you see, no matter what character he's playing.
Yeah.
Like, he can do serious, he can do intelligent, he can do batshit insane when he wants to.
Yeah, there's this movie he did with Gregory Hines back in the 80s. I'm trying to find it right now. I watched that one. A Vietnam War film he did. And then he did one that deals with the desert, and I'm trying to find him right now. Oh my goodness. Here we go.
Vietnam movie with Gregory Hines, really?
Yeah, he plays Special Investigations Division, U.S. Army, and he and Hines investigate crimes there in Vietnam. And it is a murder mystery in the middle of the Vietnam War. It's a very good film. I'm not finding it on here for some reason, but look it up. It's Gregory Hines and him, and then he's in another film that dealt with the desert and drugs.
Off Limits is the name of it, Gary.
Off Limits. That's the one. That's the one.
1998.
Great. It's a great little film, and I had it on our list to do. I don't know if I ever got around to it, but it's a good damn movie. It was something Don Ecker and I've talked about it.
I'm with Pope. He's great in everything he does.
Yep. I think one of the weirdest roles I ever saw him in, still loved him in it, was with Bill Murray on that submarine.
Oh, The Life Aquatic?
Yes. My God,
that was a weird movie, but it's
so
good.
over the top. Oh, I couldn't. You can't stop watching it, and I'm not a fan of that director. I liked his early work, and his later shit I just can't stand. But that one I like, The Life Aquatic.
That was one of those movies. I don't know what I'm watching, but I can't stop looking at it.
Wes Anderson is the
director.
Here
it is. Wes Anderson. Yep. Here's the movie. White Sands came out in '92. I was in the Army.
Okay.
That was really good with Willem Dafoe. Off Limits, '88. I love that movie. To Live and Die in L.A. is a film that I've been trying to schedule for Anima and I to watch because I really want to do a breakdown of that movie.
Woof.
What's so shocking about it? That you kill the main character before the climax.
Yeah, very.
And so it has this very somber climax. But I'm sitting there going, I just watched fucking art in a crime thriller.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how good that movie was. And the fucking theme song by Wayne Chung, To Live and Die in L.A. I fucking love that.
Great stuff, man. Great stuff. Whatever happened to the guy that played William Peterson's partner in that? I never saw him again.
Yeah. He was the dog walker on oh my God, Helen Hunt TV series. What was her show called?
Oh,
Paul Reiser.
Right, Paul Reiser. God, man. God.
Mad About You.
Mad About You. That's it. Yep.
Yeah. Because he was married to Helen Hunt in real life.
Oh,
that
really?
actor.
Okay.
And so he was on the show. He was the dog walker. Worked with him, knew him. He was in a lot of 80s movies. I think he's in Diner too. Let me go find him.
I don't ever remember seeing him again. That's the only movie I remember him from. That's it.
John Pankow is his name.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go through a list of. Also, he's in the TV series Episodes with Matt LeBlanc. And that was a really good show. Let's see.
That must be one of his post-Friends ventures.
I'm going to go back to the 80s and let's get him started here. He's in The Hunger. He dies in it. Let's see. He's in Rambo First Blood Part 2, but he's uncredited. He's one of the POWs that gets rescued.
Really?
He's the partner. Yeah, he's the partner on To Live and Die in L.A. He plays Fred Melrose in The Secret of My Success, Michael J. Fox.
Oh, okay.
He's on a lot of TV shows. I'm just going for the movies. Batteries Not Included. He plays Kovacs in that one. Johnny Be Good. He's in Monkey Shines, which I like that movie, where this guy becomes disabled and requires a help monkey to help him get shit done in his house.
These are all movies I never watched.
Trained monkey, but actually it's been altered, so it becomes murderous and protective.
I remember Batteries Not Included,
Crazy
but I only
fucking
watched
movie.
it once. Wasn't that the small aliens?
He's in Talk Radio. Yeah, he's in Talk Radio. He's in Mortal Thoughts. That was another crime thriller. He was a major character in that one. Year of the Gun. A Stranger Among Us was a terrible movie with Melanie, what's her name? That was hot in the 90s.
Griffin?
Yes, Melanie Griffin. Terrible movie. Didn't do very well. He's in a comedy option of My Affection. Oh my God, yes. He plays a waiter in the movie The Big Tease with Craig Ferguson. It's a Craig Ferguson produced film. He wrote it. It's great. I love that movie. He plays a Scottish hairdresser. He's in that movie Life as a House. It's not a movie I remember.
You are naming a bunch of stuff I have never seen. That's what I'm saying. I've never seen the guy in anything else.
He's great. He's great in Morning Glory with Harrison Ford. Good film. Morning Glory.
Batteries Not Included is the only one you've said that I've seen. And I don't even remember him being in it. I just remember the small aliens.
Yeah, but you got to remember, I watch way too many movies.
Everything, yeah. Way too many movies. I know.
But the rest of the stuff. He is in 3 episodes of Lucifer.
Oh, check it out.
He plays a gangster, as I recall.
To Live and Die in LA is better known for its director, though. William Friedkin made that. It was his first big movie in years when he made it. It was really good. Mr. French Connection.
Yeah, I understand that God cried when he came to heaven because he wanted to thank him for making The Exorcist.
Right?
His favorite movie ever. Is that a joke? Did I just make a joke?
You just made a joke. Hank Azaria, yeah.
Oh, shit, you're right. Hank Azaria is also on the show. That's right. So he played his partner, Paul Reiser's partner. Yes, Hank Azaria was the dog walker. Thank you, Deleted. Yeah, I fucked up on that one, too. Man, I fucked up a lot on this show.
Have some more coffee, brother.
You guys should fire me. Fire me.
No! You've got the channel.
I'm terrible at my job.
I can't fire you. I'm stuck with you. Remember?
Oh, I'm in love with you. I can't fire you. Jesus, you're such a woman.
Should I be insulted now?
Totally. Yeah, it's like you should be mad at me for that joke.
Yeah, you're an asshole. I'm used to that.
So Keith and Deleted both were pointing out that it was Hank Azaria. Yeah. Deleted got it first. In the Name of the King, it's a guilty pleasure. It is a film that I absolutely couldn't stand from day one. And I only watched it because Jason Statham was in it. I've been a Statham fan since he got introduced to us in Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrel. I'm like, who is this fucking guy? And that he and Vinnie Jones were close friends, you know, and he met Guy Ritchie, met them when they were selling illegal shit on the street. And says, come here to the studio here, meet me here. I'm going to put you in my movie. And look what he did. He made their fucking careers.
I think the first movie I ever saw Statham in was The One with Jet Li. Loved him in that too.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Deleted Scenes has taken ownership of Pop Culture Minefield. Has fired me.
Okay.
You guys are watching a coup happen in real time.
Yeah, this will be covered on NBC tonight, but nobody will believe it because it's on NBC.
Well, I mean, at this point, it's NBC's
there was another one.
blue-eyed look.
Yeah. Here we go. Life is a House. Absolutely, it's a great film. It's got a young Anakin in it. What's his name? Not the kid, but the older Anakin. Whatever that kid's name is.
God, man.
Hayden Christensen?
Hayden Christensen. That's it.
Hayden. As I recall, he's in House. Life is a House. I think he's in that. You know what? I'm going to look it up. Rather than having somebody correct me later.
I'm okay with them race swapping that part though, because I like the guy that plays that dude.
It doesn't matter. He's black, okay, but it's not like in your face.
Right.
It's just he happens to be.
Yeah,
black.
I wasn't offended by this character in the slightest, like because I tend to get offended by bad race swapping that is clearly done for political reasons. In this one, because this guy here, the prince, oh my fucking god, he's one of my favorite characters in the movie.
How great is he? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And at the end, you know, he's being taken into custody by the British Navy, and he says, "Anytime you need me, I am there." I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I like this guy."
What they say? One eye on the border, one eye on the pub. What
Yep.
is that?
Yep.
One
Hayden
eye on
Christensen-
the boundary, one eye on the pub. That's it.
Yeah, here it is. It's Hayden Christensen, Kevin Kline, Kristen Scott Thomas. My God, Kristen Scott Thomas, just gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
Jenna Malone and Mary Steenburgen were the big actors in the movie. Oh, and Scott Bakula's in it too, by the way.
Oh, really?
Not Quantum Leap.
Yeah, they had some great supporting it. Jamie Sheridan, good actor. John Pankow, we were just talking about him, is one of the supporting characters. And he tends to kind of get relegated that way in movies, is playing supporting characters.
Yeah, he's never the lead guy. He never is.
But Jenna Malone, I remember what the heck I remember her from.
Jenna with a J?
Oh, she's in that stupid new movie, Love Lies Bleeding. What a terrible movie. Everybody's like, gotta see it, Gerry. I'm like, I don't know. It seems socially, politically motivated. And so I watched it and I'm like, oh, this is terrible. It's not a very good film. She's also in another sociopolitically motivated film called Swallowed. Guess what that's about? It's about parasites that infect the skin after they do something. Yeah.
Not interested.
She's trying to push herself as an edgy actress. So she goes and does these weird fucking movies that just, I'm looking at them, I'm like, terrible.
Oh, yeah, okay.
One of the things she was in was the TV show Goliath. I like that show.
She's in one of my favorite movies. She is the younger version of Jodie Foster in Contact.
Oh, yeah.
That was her.
Yep.
Yeah, running down the hallway. Yeah.
Yep. That's right.
Underrated movie.
Love that movie.
Yeah, from this day forth, Keith, you work with Stephen now, I guess. Good luck getting the password from me, bitch.
He doesn't get me though.
But the rest of the stuff on her filmography,
she
I'm
doesn't
seeing
go
here.
To show.
It's the Hunger Games, and I don't watch those movies. I'm not into kids killing kids kind of thing. No thanks. I watched that first one.
So I do want to point out that in this film, this Operation Postman, went off without a hitch, which they jokingly go, "Do you expect this to go off without a hitch?" It actually did. They got there. They stole 2 boats, 2 ships, and didn't have to kill anybody. Lost none of their team. They went there to blow it up, found out they couldn't blow it up, so they just stole it. Both ships.
Now, the theft of it, did it have the impact that it says it did in the film? Did it shut down the U-boat division of the German Navy?
Not that I'm aware of. The Pacific, I mean, the Atlantic theater of operations with the British. The British really, their ships eventually started really putting a hurt locker on the U-boats. And I don't think I've never read anything that said that this operation.
Because that's what it makes it sound like in the movie.
The real thing that started putting a hurt on the U-boats was A, better technology and tactics on behalf of the escorts, and B, us breaking the Enigma code.
Yeah, once we broke the Enigma code, they were fucked.
Although they go into it in the Imitation Game that they actually couldn't use a lot of the information that they were getting from Enigma because they knew the second
it would betray what they did. It would, absolutely. But I do want to point out, do you guys know how they figured out the Enigma?
Well,
there's one phrase that's at the end of every. There's also a single phrase at the end of every message. And once they figured that out, they were able to start building off of that. And it was HEILHITLER.
Yep. And when in combination with the
Himmler.
We managed to get one of their code books intact, along with an intact Enigma machine. So we were with the combination of those two, we were able to break the code, and after that, we went to extreme lengths to keep the Germans from figuring out that we had broken it, because we knew they'd change it as soon as they knew it.
Well, I was just wondering because it the film makes it look like this is the event that made it possible for the Americans to cross the Atlantic. That's the way they make you look at it, in the film.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is just for dramatic tension in the movie, so it looks like they're really accomplishing something.
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to go directly to. I know I don't trust Wikipedia, but it is a great source of finding stuff. And you do have to you can't just write something in there and not cite where you got it from.
Right.
So I'm looking at this, what they cite here, and these are acceptable books.
Yeah, sometimes due diligence is needed.
Oh, yeah.
So let's see. The aftermath of the operation, the SOE, this group, had now demonstrated their ability to undertake operations no matter the political consequences. Hugh Dalton, the government minister in charge of SOE, informed the Prime Minister Winston Churchill of the outcome of the raid. He also stated his belief that other neutral governments would be impressed with Britain, would be impressed that Britain would, if needed, disregard the legal formalities of war in their efforts to succeed. That's an actual quote. The agent in charge of SOE African Station submitted a report to the head of SOE, Colin Gubbins, reflected on the success of Postmaster, quote, perhaps next time it will not be necessary for prolonged negotiations before undertaking a 30-minute operation, end quote, which is absolutely a stab at bureaucracy. The Spanish government was furious about the raid, which was seen as a breach of the country's neutrality. Foreign Minister Serrano sooner described the operation as an intolerable attack on our sovereignty. No Spaniard can fail to be roused by this act of piracy committed in defiance of every right and within water under our jurisdiction. Do not be surprised if we return the answer, which would in this case demands that of arms. So he is threatening to attack Britain over this. And in Germany, radio stations reported that, quote, British destroyer had entered the harbor and dropped depth charges to blow up the anchor cables, and the ship's crew were shot, end quote. And the 21st of January 1940 edition of Volkischer Beobachter? I don't know what that fucking word is. I'm not going to try to fucking pronounce it. Published an article with the headline, quote, British denials Admiralty lies on active piracy, end quote. British Naval Intelligence issued their own communique. In view of the German allegations that Allied naval forces have executed a cutting out operation against Axis ships in the Spanish port of Santa Isabel, Fernando Poe, the British Admiralty, considers it necessary to state that no British or Allied ship was in the vicinity as a result of the German broadcast. The British commander-in-chief dispatched reconnaissance patrols to cover the area. A report has now been received that a large unidentified vessel has been sighted, and British naval vessels are proceeding to the spot to make investigation. And that's what they did. It was a form of piracy, what they did.
Yeah, they stole the ship.
It's not technically sanctioned what they did. They were the mission. They were an impossible mission force. The details of the raid were being kept secret even from the British chiefs of staff, who were only informed on January 18th of 42. The Duchessa d'Aosta had been intercepted 230 miles or 370 kilometers for Anima.
That's the name.
Offshore, and was being taken to Lagos. On Fernando Poe itself, Richard Lippett, who had remained on the island, was taken in for questioning by the Spanish authorities on January 1942. He managed to persuade them he had nothing to do with the departure of the ships, nor had he spent any money on the party for the ship's officers. He was released from custody on the 27th of January of 42, but was refused permission to leave the island. He finally left secretly by canoe, arriving in British territory in March 1st of 1942. So about 2 months later. No, not even quite. It would be a month and a week later. In the aftermath of the operation, Maid of Honor was left in Lagos and eventually sold to the Sierra Leone government as a converted trawler. Duchess d'Aosta was sailed to Greenock? Where the hell is that? Scotland. Okay. And then managed by Canadian Pacific as the Empire Yukon for the Ministry of War Transport. Lakimbo was managed by the Elder Dempster Lines, which was renamed to the Malakel in 47, and then sold to Liberia in 48. Liberia, of course, is an African country that named itself really inspired by the United States. An interesting story of that country. After the raid, March Phillips was awarded the Distinguished Service Order. Hayes was awarded the Military Cross, and Appleyard a bar to his Military Cross. Lippett and Guise were each appointed members of the Order of the British Empire. Another commando and the only professional sailor on the raid, Private Anders Lawson, was the first man to board the Duchessa d'Aosta for conscious efficiency in getting the ship underway. Lawson was given the commission in the field and the immediate award of the Military Cross for actions taken. March Phillips was killed during Operation Aquitante in 1942. On the same mission, Hayes evaded capture and crossed the Spanish border. And of course, March Phillips, of course, is Gus. That's Henry Cavill's character. He was killed on the next operation. So somewhere in between this operation and the next operation, he married her. He got the actress for at least a few months. He was posthumously given the Victoria Cross for his actions. Also was involved in the SAS, He was awarded 2 bars to his MC and promoted to major. Was killed in operations in 1945. He was fighting. He was in a fist fight with a German, fighting for his life. And a machine gun was opened up on him and killed him in 45.
Brought his fist to a gunfight.
Yeah, he thought he was going to get the hell out of there. And then they opened up on him and he fucking died.
Wow. Now, I got to ask a stupid question here, folks. And I know I'm going to sound like an idiot, but what does somebody else might have this question? What does SOE stand for?
Special Operations Executive.
Executive, yeah. SOE.
I did not know that. Yeah.
That is the organization they created. Ian Fleming was directly involved with the creation of this organization. He doesn't get the credit he deserves, but
that's the start of MI6.
Hey, Scrablight's here.
This is the start of...
It's pretty much what evolved.
Mm-hmm.
MI6 was started with this. CIA came out of the OSS. In fact, the guy who headed the OSS headed the CIA is Alan Dulles, who was, by the way, not a good guy.
No.
Come
on.
Not a good guy. He was a very shady motherfucker.
Which is why he got fired by JFK, coincidentally, about 6 months before he was assassinated. And then was
odd, isn't it?
Then was picked to head the
like,
investigation into that assassination, where
like,
the CIA had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, nothing at all. That's really odd.
How coincidental.
Mm-hmm.
So is this where the fight scene is on the boat, where he goes in with the bow and arrow, killing everybody in this boat? And I'm like, that's just fucking stupid. He never did that. He would never do that. Nobody with any, because you're risking the lives of everybody on your team doing that.
This is your video
game
use
the most
moment.
effective weapon.
Yeah.
Oh, this whole movie's a video game. Yeah. Ridiculous, over the top. Because again, just like that guy said on that website, I wholly agree with him that this movie plays out like somebody playing a video game on easy mode.
It's a popcorn movie.
Yeah.
Here we go. This would never fucking happen. Never.
I think
it's one of those check your brain and enjoy.
That's it. I mean, the opening scene does establish what this movie is. It does. They're laughing, having a good time, killing Yahtzees.
Yeah, I looked on here. I can't find anything that explains what the operation did for that, and I think that's bullshit. Because I don't think that had any impact whatsoever on. Because the U.S. This is on the eve of the U.S. Entering the war.
Right.
Hey, Tim.
Hi, Tim.
Because like I said, in the film, they make it sound like this opened the Atlantic.
Here we go. Here you go, Pope. From deleted scenes. It would be odd if those two events weren't, connected.
Yeah. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
By what name are you
they weren't connected at all.
Who call me Tim?
And I'm sure it's a coincidence that his brother got assassinated right after he said as soon as he got into office he was going to open an investigation into his brother's death.
Coincidence?
Yeah.
And another coincidence, the term conspiracy theory came into common usage in 1964.
Yep. There was no real need for conspiracy theory until that event. It changed everything. That moment in history happened. It's also the most watched snuff film. The Zapruder film.
Hello. You are not
single most watched snuff film. And it's a hell of a thing because I've watched it in, the HD print of it, and it is clear there has to be multiple shooters involved there.
Oh yeah.
Kevin Costner said it best in JFK. Nowhere in the history of gunfire has a bullet done anything like this. Yeah.
Well, also the body reacts a very specific way to being hit, and you know, we should probably talk about that movie one day, JFK. God damn, it's such a long watch. But my boss is in it. So
Good one.
Dale Dye is in the movie. But
we have to then.
head moves back and to the left, back and to the left,
to the left,
back and to the left,
to the left,
back.
Which means the shot
and
came
to the
from
left.
the front right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Which is the picket fence. If
Tim
I
just
remember
asked that question. There you go. There's your answer. There you go. I just did the line. The way he said it in the film, it's just like over and over again. Back and to the left. Back and to
I
the
love how he
left.
delivers it too, like
Back.
he's talking to an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he felt like he was, because these people didn't want to hear what he had to say.
Yeah.
So he was trying to demoralize them by talking down to them. I thought it was very clever. He's the only person that brought anybody to trial for the assassination.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's in the
It's
film
just
too,
impossible.
by the way. You know he's got a cameo in the movie.
Oh, the
right
real
there.
one is in there? Good
Yeah,
for him.
he's the guy with the huge white mustache that's the waiter that waits on
Thank
costume.
God that ended with mustache.
Yeah.
I'm like, huge white, what? Where are we going? Where are we going? Mustache. God,
The mustache. Yeah, that's a signature of
she's
his.
gorgeous.
That
Look at her.
prosecutor.
I'm sorry, I got to go back there because she is just so fucking gorgeous.
She's drop dead gorgeous, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what a
Oh, yeah.
voice.
Yeah. She's amazing.
Anima kept going on about how beautiful it sounded. Is that her singing? I looked it up and I'm like, yeah, that's her.
I was
But
pretty
yeah.
sure it was, because it didn't look like playback. It looked too good.
Well, you can always tell when somebody's singing because
Yeah.
the distinction of tendons in the veins in the neck.
Yep.
Yeah, when you watch JFK again, when he sits down to talk to John Candy at the restaurant, the waiter that waits tells him he's going to get his stuff for him is
No, Garrison was the lawyer.
Yeah, he's the prosecutor that brought the
He's
case.
he's a prosecuting attorney in that film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, we need to watch that film, but God, it's such a long movie. 3 hours, as I recall, right?
Oh my God. I'm not.
Jim
doing
Garrison's the guy's name. He was the district attorney in New Orleans at the time.
I'm not doing well with long movies like that.
But you know what? If
Hold
you
on,
need some 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon fodder, that one's great for it, right there.
I have 1 degree. You can actually play 6 degrees of Gerry. I shit you not. You can, because I work for Dale fucking Dye.
Dale Dye.
So
who was in
anybody
a movie
that Dale has worked with, I am 1 degree away from them. Anybody who worked with that actor, I'm 2 degrees away from that person. You understand? You can actually play 6 degrees of Gerry. You can also play 6 degrees with Gerry. If you want to.
Who wants that?
I'm fucking warped. All right, so it was 1991. There we go. I'm looking for runtime on this
Jim
film.
Garrison was the prosecuting attorney.
Yes.
It is 3 hours and 9 motherfucking minutes.
Holy shit.
I don't
Yeah,
think
it's
I
a
want
long
to watch
movie.
it.
You're going to watch it with me. We'll probably watch it in 2 parts.
I can't
I
remember.
don't
Did
want
that one
to-
have an intermission when it was in the theater? I don't remember. I think
It
might.
has to. It has to happen.
No one's gonna
Okay.
sit there
I
for
didn't
3
see it in the
hours.
theater because I was in the military and it wasn't on our post. I saw it later on VHS. That's how I watched it the first time.
I can't remember if it had an intermission in it or not.
Tim sent me a picture. It's completely bogus. It's comedy picture about the thing.
I see it. He sent it to me.
Here it is. Oh, there you go.
Oh my God, this is
man.
crazy.
The Onion.
What?
Yes.
Explain-
That you can trust that headline from The Onion. Yes.
Oh, it's made up. This is fake. It's funny as hell though. President
It's
shot
The
his head
Onion,
49
of course.
times.
My favorite's down on the bottom right there. It's like Jacqueline Kennedy catches husband's brain with grace and aplomb.
God. So, well, there was a debate over what she was doing. That some people thought she was scrambling to get out, and in fact, she's saying that a piece of his head had flown back onto the back of the car, and she was trying to get it in her mental state. That's absolutely believable. It absolutely is believable. That's her fucking husband.
I stand corrected. Jim Garrison does not play that waiter. He plays Earl Warren.
He plays Earl Warren.
Yeah, he plays Earl Warren. He's got a cameo in it as Earl Warren. I stand corrected. I was wondering what.
That's why that movie. That's why that movie failed.
Judge, and it made me look at it real
So
quick.
that's why the movie failed. That's why the movie failed.
There you go.
Because he played Earl Warren.
That's it.
No, it's. I think it made its money back, but God damn it, people don't. The whole way you make money with a movie is having people see a movie more than once.
Yep.
It's really where your box office shines. And when you make a movie that's over 3 hours long, you're hurting your own business making it that fucking.
First of all, you're cutting down how many times a day you can show it.
Yeah.
Boom.
You figure
and you're not getting that many people coming back to watch it again.
Yeah, and you're getting even when you look at it mathematically, most movies are about 2 hours, a little under. So every other time you're playing that movie, when you add that extra hour in, you're deleting another showtime.
Yep, absolutely.
Comic Relief Crusader.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Hey, Mike. So the budget was $40 million.
With that many of the top tier stars in it, it was only $40 million. That's amazing.
Especially as good looking as it is. Because the effects in this
and it made its money. It made over $200 million.
Okay.
And that's in 1991 dollars. Because that's what you could get into a movie for $4 or $5. So that's pretty fucking good. That's, of course, the accumulated global worldwide. It only made 70 million in the US. That would be considered a failure. At least today it would be.
Yeah.
Because your budget times 2 is what you've got to make back to break even. So 80 million is what they needed to make in the US.
But I've watched it.
They only got 70 million.
Times. It is so good. It really is. I watch it.
I've only watched it once.
Oh man.
I just it is just too fucking long, and I've only watched it one time.
And
I'll
I
see
don't
clips
think he misses the
now and
mark.
again.
His theories he has, that he portrays in that movie, I don't think he missed the mark at all.
Nope. But I still don't like Oliver Stone. I think he's an asshole, and I think he
is an asshole.
Card-carrying commie. He's a
Yes,
commie.
he is.
And it's so insulting, that last line from Platoon. I love the movie, but I just hate Oliver Stone for saying that, because we came 1,000 miles to fight the enemy, and the enemy was us. And I'm like, said no grunt ever.
Said no grunt from
that's
the
just
Vietnam era ever.
That's just bad.
It was written by Oliver Stone and said by Charlie Sheen, and it reflected poorly on.
He said
Vietnam
it was
veterans, in my opinion.
semi-autobiographical. I'm like, there's no way that happened. Everything in that movie happened to that guy in a year. There's no way.
Well, what they did, and what Dale Dye was part of the planning process with the film, was to take all these different incidences and make them take place with this one group in a very short period of time.
Yeah,
I will tell you that Oliver Stone and Dale Dye had in their cargo pockets while making that movie, my friend John Del Vecchio's best-selling novel, New York Times best-selling novel, which I did the cover for, The 13th Valley.
Yep.
And The 13th Valley is, in my opinion, and in many historians' opinion, probably the single greatest Vietnam War book ever written. And by the way, John Del Vecchio is going to be my guest on Dangerous Nerds this Wednesday, 6 o'clock.
Dangerous Nerds has made a return?
I think it's only going to pop up when I've got something to do. You know,
Cool.
and I need to build a team of veterans that, can religiously be there for me. Because I don't want to do it by myself. I want to be able to talk amongst my fellow panelists and our guests. Our guests are going to be Julia Dye, the Chief Executive Officer for Warriors Incorporated, who I work for. She is my direct boss. Directly above her is Dale Dye, who is my overboss.
She's also awesome. I love Julia.
And one of the secret magicians.
And I got to meet her.
Yep, twice. She's great.
And he's a decorated Marine and is a one-time. Somebody said, "You're just a glorified reporter." And it's like, do you not understand what Marine Corps combat correspondents are? They're Marines first, dumbass.
It's like they're taking pictures after, but they're holding guns for a reason.
Yep. And Gustav, who wrote the book The Short Timers, which became the movie Full Metal Jacket, Daddy DA in the book and in the movie is Dale Dye.
Yep.
Short
Ironically,
timers.
in the movie Full Metal Jacket, they cast the black guy as Dale. I said, Skipper, I had no idea you were a brother. He just laughed. He just chuckled at that.
I'm just hung like one. Don't worry about it, son.
But Dale was Daddy DA.
Which that's going to be especially weird for him talking. I mean, being in a movie about a battle he was at.
Way City. That is, by the way, how I found out that Walter Cronkite lied. Because Dale was part of the team that was there with Cronkite when he recorded on film his report. And all, what's the word I'm looking for? You know the word, Pope. There was no more gunfire from the enemy. What's that called? The term for it. Oh, Anyway, all aggression was ended. The U.S. had cleared out Hue City. We had decimated.
Ceasefire. That's
in fact, with that battle for Hue City was the end of the Viet Cong. We killed them all.
Whoa.
There were so few left, they went back to their fucking farms. All we were fighting from the Tet Offensive on was the North Vietnamese.
NVA? Yeah.
Yeah, and you would see VC raids, but they were very small scale, nothing like they were doing from 66 to 68.
No, they were just, we had completely just gutted them. We had gutted them. And
you would never see
and the NVA didn't recognize them anymore because the NVA worked with the VC. You would see them together a lot, not from 68 on. And people act like we lost that war, and it pisses me off. It's like, if you know your history, we didn't lose the war.
We won the battles.
We completely crushed them to the point where we forced them to meet us in Paris for the Paris peace talks. And we forced them to sign a treaty. But then our gutless Congress defunded the fucking war to make sure that we enforced that treaty because they needed us there to enforce it. And by doing so, our Congress led to over 2 million deaths.
Yep. Among the South
at the hands of the
footage of us leaving Saigon. Terrific, man. It is bad.
Which the whole
I do remember that. I remember watching that on TV as a kid. Those people trying to get in that last helicopter. Just heartbreaking. And the horror when I got older and realizing what they were facing.
And that whole timeline is bullshit.
We didn't lose that war. We won it and then surrendered.
That, the Americans got driven out of Vietnam in 1975 at Saigon. That's not true. The last American combat troops left Vietnam on March 29th, 1973. So, and we had a deal in place that basically the North Vietnamese would cease fighting in South Vietnam and go to their side of the border. And they abode by that. And then they broke their word 2 years later and then took Saigon before we could really respond.
Now, I will point out that it is important to know that when I mentioned that 2 million, that was pretty much all the Khmer Rouge. And the Khmer Rouge were so horrifying that the North Vietnamese said, look, we know you are our communist brothers, but we're going to kill you. And they killed him. The North Vietnamese killed the Khmer Rouge. They said, these motherfuckers are crazy. Yeah. We don't want this.
They were kind of the 1970s equivalent of ISIS.
I think it's because of that.
I'm like, dude.
Despite what happened in 1975, I think that is one of the reasons why, because they did respect the treaty for a while, that we were able to later lay down an olive branch with them. And now we have good relations with them. I don't know if they're even still communists, really, even though they still have Ho Chi Minh City and all that shit. It's just, you can fucking get a Big Mac in Ho Chi Minh City.
Yeah,
I think they even have a Burger King now.
I think they're one of those countries that is like still technically communist, but it's mostly out of inertia at this point.
It's like they've done to a more peaceful degree what China's done. China's very aggressive with their capitalism. Their capitalism is only to support the communism. They're scary.
When you look at how their government's set up, they're not really communist anymore. They are the other type of socialist known as fascism.
They're fascists, and they treat their citizens like crap. They enforce birth rates and what kind of babies you can have.
Yep.
And how many you can have. It's like, holy shit, that's scary as fuck. That your government has that much control over you. I hope so.
That's coming back to bite them now. Their population's aging out.
You want to talk about a country, and my boss told me all about it when he went over there a couple of times. Libby, when I worked for them, had a glass plant built in China, and he went over there to teach him how to melt glass several times. And he told me when he came back, he said, man, you think this country gets smog and shit? He said they don't care about the environment over there.
No, they are the number one polluting country.
Number one polluters on the planet.
India's close second. India and China. And do you see Greta Thunberg or whatever her fucking name is over there?
No, it's all about the
she's
US.
coming here to America, one of the cleanest countries in the world, as far as pollution goes now. I'm just like, this is a fleecing job, these leftists that run the green stuff. They're just fleecing people who are already doing the work.
Fleecing and trying to shift wealth.
When you look into who pays those organizations, they're mostly some of it's tied directly back to Russia, and a lot of it's tied directly to the Chinese government.
Well, most of them began in Eastern Europe under communism and socialism. In fact, you will find that the first article that talked about using carbon as, carbon dioxide, greenhouse gases to do anything was an article in a climate magazine in 1978. And in that magazine, the guy wrote a piece where he said that if all humanity, worked together, if we were to go into a minor, small ice age, which was their belief that would happen in the 20th century, because it had happened each century previous to it. They don't take into consideration that the sun is a woman and you can't predict what it's going to do. It's going to change its fucking mind when it wants.
And it's the main drive of our environment.
So in the 1950s, I think it was 55, 57, we got a little thing called, we've all heard it, El Nino. Okay. That was the opposite effect. The sun went into a warming period instead of a cooling period. And all of a sudden we got that. So alarmists don't know science. They really don't. They're the worst people to talk to. I've had to correct my daughter so many times. It's ridiculous. I'm like, that's not how it works. We started talking about greenhouse gases. I said, first of all, you act like greenhouse gases are bad. Okay, that means you've got
the plants
a lush
used to make frickin'
greenery,
oxygen?
Which is why it's called greenhouse gases, because it helps plant life thrive. But with the but they can't absolutely predict these things because the sun is going to do what the fuck it's going to do. It seems cyclical, but then it'll do the opposite, and you're like, oh well, fuck. I tell people, like, we've got another 500 million years of this sun, before it dies, begins the process of dying out. And but I'm like, you're predicting again.
If you want to worry about something that has to do with the environment, worry about the thinning of the rainforest. That's what you need.
Well, the rainforests are, again, this is a regional thing, because the thinning of the rainforest, because right now, currently, there is more, in the United States in particular, there's more forestry today, like 5 to 10 times more forestry today than there was 100 years ago. This Virginia, where I grew up, were hills in the 1800s. I grew up, it was lush forestry. I grew up forest everywhere. My apartment complex,
I live out in
Forest
Shenandoah
Village. Yeah.
When everyone's like, we're running out of trees. Everyone who lives in the Shenandoah is like, where?
The deforestation that is the greatest impacting Earth at all is what's going on in South America, and it's like impacting the Earth by 1%. My problem with it is what they're doing after they deforest an area. The other thing I dislike about it is there are probably cures for almost every disease in the world in the jungles, and probably also diseases we didn't know existed, but also cures. That's what the movie Medicine Man was all about. With Sean Connery.
I was fixing to say,
actually a very good film.
Exactly where you were going with that Sean Connery movie.
Yeah, it's a very good film.
That's a McTiernan movie. I think that's McTiernan. Yeah.
Yep. And he had what's her name in it? God, she was hot back in the day. I was in the Army.
Let me look it up.
Man, I'd like to run into her a few times.
Jeez.
Sorry, honey. That's
okay.
Old Army Gary talking. That's the old Army Gary talking.
I know you're a dick. That's okay.
Lorraine Bracca.
That's her.
Mm-hmm.
By the time she was in The Sopranos, not as hot.
No.
Still like her voice.
Oh yeah, smoky voice. Yes, absolutely.
But you remember there were movies back in the 70s predicting the world would end in the 90s to 2000s from an ice age. Just look, the sun's going to do what it's going to do.
Who
just
was I
try
talking
to be as
Mark,
prepared
was
as
it
possible.
you that I was talking to the other day about the book that Art Bell and a global climatologist did that the day after tomorrow is based on?
You were talking about it.
Yeah. It's called The Coming Global Superstorm, and it takes 100 years in that story to happen, and they boiled it down to a week.
That is the book. Well, that's the book that inspired Roland Emmerich to make his movie. And what he did would actually take months in real life. He had to happen quickly in the movie. So that's the only thing he really changed. But that's all stuff that's in that book.
Yeah.
And it's a good film. I do like that film. It's a story about a father and a son. Something you won't get today. You know, it's got to be about a daughter and her son, or a daughter, a daughter and her mom, and a mother and her son, maybe. And if it's a boy, it has to be raised by women. You know, that's Hollywood today. Losing their grip. They're losing their grip.
Right. The only character I didn't like in it was the vice president. He was definitely supposed to be Dick Cheney.
Yeah, he was Dick Cheney. No, absolutely, he was inspired by Dick Cheney. And I hate Dick Cheney. I fucking never liked
I do too, but
guy.
I mean, it was so silly, you know. They had to politicize it a little bit, I guess. You know.
Well, that's one of the things that makes me kind of give the new Reagan movie the side eye. It's just like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I did a lot of really good shit. But
I'm seeing the stuff. Isn't Quaid playing him? I think Quaid's playing him, right? Yeah.
But I'm just like, do you really trust modern Hollywood to write a movie about Ronald Reagan?
You know what? I gotta look this up and see.
Well, this new film is being put out by a good studio, and I've seen a clip from it, and they make him look right. And I'm talking about the one with Dennis Quaid. And Dennis Quaid has sort of taken the red pill.
Okay.
And I would not say he ate the whole thing. I would say he ate half a pill.
He's been working with.
I think he's more like me.
Movie
as conservative as I sound, I'm really socially liberal. And when it deals with taking care of the poor, I believe in health programs to help the poor. I don't believe in Obamacare. I think it's a stupid idea. I said, look, if you want to get an idea of how socialized medicine works, we already have it in the United States. It's called the VA.
Yeah.
And it's a failure for the most part. It's not that the doctors aren't wonderful. It's the wait times that kill so many veterans. It's how we end up with so much self-harm.
The funny thing is, one of the best, kind of public healthcare systems in the world is the Catholic Church.
Catholic Church started the hospital program.
Yep.
We wouldn't have hospitals. We would not have hospitals if not for the Catholic Church. They started it.
They are called the Knights Hospital there for a reason.
Sisters of Mercy, man.
Well, not even Sisters of Mercy, the Knights of St. John. Going back to the Crusades.
St. John. Well, the name hospital itself came from the Hospitallers,
which is the Knights of St. John. Like the church actually started like European healthcare in its current form.
So,
and they've done more
socialized medicine. You look at England. England is a prime example of socialized medicine because they've been socialized since 47. Okay, got voted in, and Churchill was broken by that. He tried to stop it, but look, it is what it is. The national health system in the UK, when they did a poll back in 2015, 2014, something like that, they sent letters to homes to poll people on the national health system. And then they went to the hospitals and clinics and polled people coming out. And what they discovered was that 40% of the citizens supported it when it was mailed in. 60%, majority, hated the national health system when they were polled from home. But when there was somebody who finally got seen by their doctor, it flipped. 60% plus, 40% against. Because that majority had finally been seen. And that is where they started putting it together, that the problem with the national health system, this goes for Canada, anybody with a national health system, is the waiting period. Months. Right here, Laura was telling me she can't see her neurologist for months. On her insurance.
Yeah, that's
I think it was 7 months, she said. 7 months before she could see her, a specialist neurologist. And it's like, she needs to see a neurologist. But sorry, you're on a wait thing. This is where people self-delete.
Well,
and
I mean,
people just simply
we've seen that in
die.
the VA system, where there was a case a few years ago where a guy went to the VA for emergency mental health treatment and was turned away because they didn't have enough room, and he went out in the parking lot and self-deleted.
Yeah.
And one thing I liked that Trump did was the bottom 10 performing VA hospitals in the country, the heads of those hospitals got to go to the White House and explain to the president personally why they were so fucked up.
Phoenix was number 1 on that list. They're one of the worst VAs, if not the worst VAs in the United States. And they were under McCain for years.
Yeah, of course.
How can you be the senator, representative of that fucking state and have the worst VA program as a veteran? It's shameful.
It's John McCain.
That's why I became a Republican. Only time in my life I ever became a Republican was when I lived in Arizona, so I could try to vote him out in the primaries. I fucking hate that guy. He was a miserable person. He did horrible, horrible things while in office. And he's corrupt as hell.
Gerry, you got to look at...
people go, you shouldn't... Don't speak ill of the dead. I'm talking about when he was alive.
Oh, yeah. Gerry, you got to look at the cast of this movie. Some of these are...
Which one?
Are interesting. The Reagan movie. Robert Davi is going to play Leonid Brezhnev.
God, I hate that.
Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, Pope, if you got Robert Davi in your film, it's going to be a good movie about Reagan.
Okay.
He's staunch. He is staunch.
Dan Faria is going to play Tip O'Neill.
Another conservative. There you go. That tells you this is going to be good. They're going to make... And I saw that clip, man.
Sure,
and
Robert
Reagan,
Davi being in it. Yeah.
And it's the scene where Reagan basically lays out his plan to bring down the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And
this was
he's going to force them to spin themselves out of existence.
It's got to be from when they were younger. Scott Stapp, the lead singer of Creed, is going to play Frank Sinatra in it.
Really?
Yep. Scott Stapp. Of all the people
I wouldn't have seen that coming, but okay.
No. It's got to be when they were younger, right? You know, when he was an actor. Yeah.
Well, because by the time Reagan was president.
Man. But you know what? There's no Ollie North listed. But C. Thomas Howell is listed, but there's no part for him listed. So maybe he's going to play Ollie. I don't know.
Could be.
I've met Ollie North, and he's really a nice guy. He really is.
Yeah, imagine. He took a bullet.
He tips really
Reagan,
well.
No doubt. He took
that's
the bullet
not Ollie.
for the man.
Oh, I get what you're saying. He took a metaphorical bullet
for the man. Yep.
Because I know a guy who took a bullet for him. Brady and one of his Secret Service guys.
I wasn't talking about that. I'm talking about
and Brady became one of the biggest staunch anti-gun people. And this was one of Reagan's biggest disappointments. Because, it's like your stance makes no sense. I understand what you're upset about, but what you're upset about is how a person with mental health issues got a weapon. That's the issue.
That is the issue.
And
but Brady, Bill, you're right. That was
one of the worst things we've ever done.
Yes,
on guns.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it was pointless. Because you disarm, when the government gets involved with this stuff, you're disarming citizens, and you're not disarming criminals.
Well,
they're still armed.
That's one of the main reasons I'm as pro 2A as I am. Is okay. Well, all of these gun control bills and stuff that are done as a reaction to whatever incident. Okay, well, you're punishing law-abiding citizens that have done nothing wrong for one asshole that did.
Well, it's like I said to somebody one time about that high school shooting. I said, you want to create all these new laws, but do you realize there were 21 laws already broken in what they did? So what's going to be helpful about adding new ones? What do you expect is going to happen? If somebody's going to commit a crime, they're going to commit a crime. And then the question came out. I said, are you pro not killing people? Or is this just simply an issue over guns that you have? Because if it's about taking life, you're missing the greater point here.
It's
And
kind of like
the
immigration problem. If you just enforce the books that were the laws that were on the books already, you wouldn't have this problem.
Yeah, and the other
when he got on the stand, the head of Border Patrol Security, I forget his name, he made it very clear: if you have a problem with the laws that we have to enforce, you're the ones who make the laws. You can actually change them. Stop attacking us for doing our job, protecting the laws that you give us to protect, and change them. And you're the bad guy here because you have the ability to change these laws. And I love that when he turned the tables on them.
Mm-hmm. It's like, if you don't like the immigration policies, change the immigration policies. But until then, enforce it.
And if you enforce it, you're a bad guy.
Well, that's just the modern left. And anytime they see force being used anywhere against anyone, that's oppression. It's like, no, that's called discipline and order.
Yeah. All right.
Did the person know they weren't supposed to be doing what they were doing? Yeah. Did they have a negative outcome from doing what they knew they weren't supposed to be doing? Yeah. Well, then that's on them.
I got to share this with you. Didn't mean to do that. Delete. Let me share this picture because this is a behind the scenes photo I've never seen before from Alien. This is Giger's sculpture. Oh, it's not big enough. Damn it. But it's, you can see the plastic curtains protecting it. This is like right at the very beginning when it was being built. That is the pilot, navigator.
Yeah.
From Alien.
The thing that they were never supposed to explain what it was and then did. God, I hate Prometheus so much.
Yeah. We could do a whole show on my problems with that fucking movie. But anyway, we're at the end of the show. Overall, I would give this film, my score for this film, I would give it a solid, let's say we have 5 stars. Let's go with 5 stars. I would give it 4 stars for fun. And I'd give it for story about a 3. And for the action, I would give it, again, another 4 stars. It was fun action. But as far as a historical film, I would give it like a 1, maybe a 2.
Yeah.
I think it's its biggest failure is its just absolute nature of being so full of shit in telling what happened. But it was still, God damn it, it's a fun movie. Great film to watch with some popcorn. Do not watch it with the kiddies. Again, I'm going to point out Alan Richardson cuts a guy's heart out and is holding it in his hand. This is Quentin Tarantino meets Guy Ritchie.
And he's covered
crazy
in blood
fucking
all the time.
Ennio Morricone. Yeah, he's covered in blood almost the entire film. A score that's meant to sound like Ennio Morricone, which of course leads back to Quentin Tarantino again, who loves to use Ennio Morricone music in his films. Him and Quincy Jones. He loves using Quincy Jones and he loves using Ennio Morricone. But look, it's a fun movie. If you haven't seen it yet, watch it. You'll have fun. Henry Cavill sticking his tongue out while he's shooting fucking Yahtzees. My God.
I mean,
but again,
he's always nice
to
watch.
The Germans offer no resistance. He's eye candy. I think one of the funniest moments for me in the film is when he walks in and the guy's telling a joke, the German is, and he tells the punchline and everybody starts laughing, and then he and Alan Richardson start laughing. And then shoots them. And then says, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, old man. It's ridiculous. It's over the top. It's fun. It is. I would not call this a great film. It's a fun film.
I think it would have done better if it was released now instead of early in the year. I think it would have been. I think it would have done better if we didn't know it was a Guy Ritchie movie, because it doesn't look
it's
like
usually a bad sign if you release early in the year.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is January to February in particular is your movie dump months.
Not that
Rarely
gems
do
don't
you
come
get a hit. It does
I mean,
happen.
gems do. Yeah.
No, we got Dune Part 2 this year.
One of the
That was
greatest.
awesome.
You got. I couldn't stand that movie. Dracula came out on Valentine's Day. But you know,
the one I always remember
Bela
is,
Lugosi.
and it's
Huge
another
hit.
Valentine's Day one. The Kingsman. Me and my wife went and saw that. Didn't know what it was about. Didn't know anything about it. Just went to see it for something on Valentine's Day, and we're blown away by it. Loved that movie. You know.
Yeah, don't ask me what I thought of that one.
Huh? Do what?
Don't ask me what I thought of that movie.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I love the cast, and there were scenes in it I was really getting into, and then the over-the-top silly action annoyed me. It's like, you know, I was going to see an action film. I didn't know I was going to watch In Lake Flint. You know, it bugged me.
Yeah.
I wanted to watch something. That's why I like Man from U.N.C.L.E. I like that movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think its weakest point was Armie Hammer. I think he's a detriment to every film he's ever been in. Did somebody just pass out? What was that?
No, I hissed at Loki because he hurt me with his claws.
Oh.
He was getting off my lap.
Punch him in his cat face. Right.
No, he was
in his cat
he
face.
was chilling on my lap, and all of a sudden he leaps off of me, digging his claws in.
I like to give mini kitty concussions. I just pop them on top of the head. And their ears go back and go, ooh, did I do something wrong? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I the most I do is I'll give them a pat on the ass. And it's intended to just get their attention. Like, hey. But I make noises. I actually make a noise. My noise is hey. That is it. When my cat's doing something it's not supposed to be doing, go, hey, like that, and it'll startle the cat. And the cat's like, oh, I guess I won't do that again. Or it's one of those dumb cats that goes, I don't know what the fuck you're yelling at me for, so I'm going to do that again some other time.
Yeah, that's my cat.
That's Loki. Man, I'm just glad he's doing fine. He can scratch me all he wants.
I told you last night before today, I was like, look, if he's doing this well, that's a sign. It's a sign that, yes, the medicine's doing its work, but that it wasn't maybe as deadly as they thought it was, that maybe it was just like me in the hospital, that they did the same thing with me with my liver in the hospital.
Yeah.
And they were getting all concerned. And I was just like, I was calm. I'm like, I'm not going to freak out about this. Like, you guys are freaking out. You guys just did a whole bunch of shit to me. And then all of a sudden, my liver functions numbers are weird. I'm like, gosh, I wonder what caused that.
Well, they tried to fix him
and I told the doctor,
and then they sent him home to die because there was nothing he can do.
Exactly. And in 2 weeks,
somehow.
2 weeks after I got out of the hospital, everything's back to normal. I'm an asshole. I'm back to being what I am. So, but anyway, fun show.
That can't
today.
be cured, Gerry.
Good. Yeah.
There's no cure for you being an ass.
I don't know. I just like the film. Joe, if you gave this film a score, what would you give it?
Entertainment wise, yeah, I'm with you. It's a 4 out of 5. We're going 5 stars, right? Historically, I can't answer that. That's why I'm asking you about it. So whatever grades you gave it historically, that's what it gets. A 1, I think you said. But
I gave it a 2. No,
yeah,
1. You're right. 1.
It to me, I thought that, well, as far as the military portion of it and the reality of what's going on, dude, a 2. I mean, because they wouldn't wade through that many soldiers without getting shot. I'm sorry, somebody would hit them with something. Like you said, it's like a video game. These are all NPCs just getting mowed down. But as an ode to old-timey movies like this, I thought it was like, like I told you earlier, I thought it was Hogan's Heroes meets Casablanca, and I thought it was cool.
I think it falls into a category of like the original Inglourious Bastards, not the one Quentin made. But it is still kind of falls into the violence of that film.
Got a lot lighter heart to it, though. It sure seems like they're having more fun. They're not as serious as that movie.
And that's a hard line to walk too, being hyper violent, but at the same time lighthearted and funny.
Yeah.
Like you have to do that in a very, very careful way.
Yeah.
So, Pope, your score.
Fun. I'm right there with you guys. I'm giving it like a 4, maybe a 4.5 out of 5 on fun factor. I had a lot of fun watching it. Again, historically accurate. It isn't. Like, it didn't even try to be. So yeah, 1's about right there. But overall, I'd give it probably a 3 because it just has this attitude about it and this presence that's just a lot of fun to see on the screen. And at the end of the day, that's what movies like this are all about.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I think that it would have benefited from the team being a little more realistic and having a few more people on the team so they could get killed in combat. And I think one of them should have been a major character, but not a real person. Just so if you're going to do that, I think, because you got to feel, and I think you guys will agree with me on this, that you have to feel that your characters are in peril to really connect.
Yeah, there's got to be gravity
with
to it. You're right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there was none of that in this film, except for her. You felt she was in danger.
Yes.
And again, she's not a fictional person, but what happened with her in this movie, absolute bullshit. Didn't happen that way. She was not there. But she is the only one that seems to be in harm's way. Whereas the other characters, you never really feel that. And I think that's one thing that I think the film would have benefited from. Is a little bit more...
I think that's just Hollywood. Damsel in distress. They had to add that.
Yeah. Well, they want to get the reaction from the audience. They want the audience to be afraid for her. But you should have been afraid for the guys, too. There should have been a threat. I mean, you look at movies like Guns of Navarone and Force 10 from Navarone. Their teams dwindle as they go, on mission. The parts of their team are being killed in the fight.
Yeah, but the guys in this movie are fucking superheroes.
And that's the problem. It's the hyper-realism aspect of it I didn't like. So you gave it a good score. Martin, what would be your overall score for it?
Maybe a 4. It wouldn't be completely, but it would be a 3.5, and this kind of scale from 1 to 5, there are no decimals. So you would have to round it to 4.
So 4. Overall score would be a 4. Okay. That's a good score. Anima, what would you score it?
3.5. It's fun. It's fun, but it's a bit silly.
Fun.
So that's a 3.5 for me.
Martin gives 4 tacos out of 5. I got to remind you, he is not Mexican. Mike.
Hello, he just lives there.
Mexican.
Hello.
He's from Venezuela. And what are some of the dishes from Venezuela that he should be picking, Martin?
We could say empanadas.
Empanadas?
Yeah.
So now, he gives...
about the danger thing, there was, but it was for a fleeting moment. When Heron when he's putting the charges in the generator house and the 3 Germans, so for a moment you think,
yeah,
again, he's not really
part.
Yeah, he's not part of the team, but I do like that scene. Anima had a problem with that. I went, because in the film they make that split second last longer of him pulling that weapon out. I said, in reality, that would have taken less than a second to shoot both those guys.
They make it seem
And that
so
middle
long,
guy,
and
it's
just like,
not.
why
It
are they
went
not
by
reacting
really
to him?
quickly. That's for us. That's for us. That's for the audience that it played out that way. I said he shot those guys in a split second, and he put the weapon on the middle guy, who then realized, oh shit, and he's trying to get his weapon, has to reach across his body to get to his pistol, and it's too late. Got the pistol aim him, and then his fucking weapon doesn't fire. It's like, oh shit. And then he just stabs him. I'm like, there you go. Always make sure you got stabby stuff when you go into combat. Michael is one of the people that's given a score in the chat. He gives it 4 out of 5 for fun. I'm curious, deleted any of you guys, Sci-Fi Mombi, anybody else, Pacific 414? Is Penny still here? I'd love to see what you guys think about it too before we leave. 3 out of 5 from deleted scenes. All right, outstanding. Anima gives 3. What is that?
Tiroler Gröstel. Tiroler Gröstel. That's a dish from the western part of Austria.
Now, just so you know, Comic Relief Crusader is Canadian, but his heritage is Austrian.
Styrian too, like Arnold.
I think that some of his family fled to Canada.
And no, I didn't give 3. I gave it 3.5.
3.5. Which is still a good score, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It doesn't go bad until it goes below 3 out of 5. Penny gives it 4.5. Outstanding. She enjoyed it. Austrian dish. My dad is Austrian. My mom is German. Oh my God, you're fucked, dude.
Hey! There's nothing wrong with being Austrian or part Austrian. Fuck you.
It's like my brother Michael. You know, I made a joke with him one time because he used to tell me the most fucked up Jewish joke because they're Jewish. All my siblings are Jewish. And my brother turned to me. I'm the only Irish Roman Catholic out of a family of 6 Jews. I shit you not. True story. And my brother Michael came up to me to tell me, he says, I don't know how to feel sometimes, Gerry. I said, what do you mean? He says, you know, I'm German Jewish. Half of me hates me. And I just went, oh, fuck you, Mike. Half of me hates me. He made some other jokes I won't repeat here. My brother Mike is so funny.
There's absolutely nothing wrong about being Austrian until you try to go to art school.
I always tell everybody.
Oh my God.
I always tell everybody I'm an Irish Indian. I'm constantly at war with myself.
Hey, it could be worse, Joe. It could
By
be
the way,
Irish. I impress myself all the time.
One of my favorite memes showed a couple of paintings by Adolf. Okay. And it says, what do you think of this artwork? Isn't it beautiful? You just like something created by him. In small print at the bottom. You just like something by Adolf. And it's like, oh my God.
I'm just saying he wasn't good enough to get into art school in Vienna, and that pissed him off.
And of course, all of the heads of the department were all mostly of that persuasion. Dad says it's Austrian who has the culture. Well, they speak German better, I'll tell you that much, at least in Vienna. I'm trying to get this to fucking stay up, and I don't know why it keeps popping down. Dad says it's Austrian who has the culture instead of is uncouth Germans. I think the Austrians feel the same way. And I think Germans don't. They think they're the greatest, which is why Norm Macdonald says that's the country to watch, because they've started 2 world wars.
And they got away with both of them. Germany took the blame for both of those.
And they're doing some crazy shit right now. Have you seen some of the shit they've criminalized over there? And they've made pedophilia a minor infraction. What do they call it? Misdemeanor.
Let's not get into that, please.
Yeah, that's a quick road to getting the channel heated.
Yeah, I'm just telling you, Germany, keep an eye on them. Austria, keep an eye on them. Watch them over
we're fine
there.
until they talk about expanding the EU into a more perfect European Union. It's just like, oh, God damn it, Germany, not again.
Can I just
That
move?
is scary as fuck. I didn't like the idea of the European
here.
Union in the beginning. I loved it when Britain said, we're tired of being your bank and we're backing out.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, but they're fucked
because
now.
Greece just kept lying, and I still think they're lying. I think they're in dire straits.
They did. Greece lied to get into EU.
So they can get all those kickbacks.
Yeah.
You hear that? I'm opening my Mountain Dew. That's why, to me, the scene with Elsa and the German officer in Indy Last Crusade is funny. Yeah. Because she's Austrian, even though she has a terrible Austrian accent. She's Irish. Her name is Alison Doody. I'm like, you got into film with the last name Doody, and like that's sort of like what's her name? Poots, whatever her name is, Emma Poots. I'm like, it's like your name is Emma Farts, is what that is when you say poot. Another one was that. What was that movie with? Oh my God, De Niro's in it. It's the cartoon Bullwinkle.
Oh, yeah, it's Rocky and Bullwinkle, but I can't remember the name of the film.
Came out, I think, in 2000, and it has that actress in it with the funny name Piper Parabo, who I thought she was going to be something big because she did that bar where they dance on the bar movie.
Oh yeah,
I thought her career was going to take off, and then she did that TV show, and I liked the show, and it got canceled, Covert Affairs, and she just sort of playing minor characters now. She's a minor character on Yellowstone right now. She's the
Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle.
That's it.
The Adventures of Rocky.
I enjoyed that movie.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. Jason Alexander is great in it.
Renee Russo, she played Natasha.
Yeah, Renee Russo plays Natasha, and Jason Alexander plays Boris.
Right, Boris. And
what is moose and squirrel? What is moose and squirrel? Must kill moose and squirrel. So there you go. Martin and John is here. Hi, John. And we're going to get out of here. I guess I'll say hi to everybody and thank them for being here. Penny, Snortopoopas, D-Bud Martin, Sci-Fi Mobby, Andy Morrow, Real Wade Nation, Keith Movie Geek. He didn't get his breach, but Wade, you need to put more effort into your breeches. Also, pull up your breeches. Keith Movie Geek was here. Our buddy Keith. Deleted scenes before he fell asleep. I bet he fell asleep during the show. My voice lulls him to sleep. I've seen it happen. You've seen it happen live, Joe, when he falls asleep on the show while I'm talking.
Oh yeah.
And just suddenly you hear this. I love Pokepotic Keith. I love him so much. Deleted scenes, of course, our good friend Stephen. Scribe Light was here. FKHC 2005, Tim. The Comic Relief Crusader, our buddy Mike was here. Vinkman's Girl. Vinkman's Girl always likes my music posts when I post something. She's one of the few people I feel really pays attention to my posts on Twitter. Pacific 414, and of course our good buddy and fellow member of Pop Culture Minefield, Das Werfen. And that's it. I think we're fucking done here. Should we stick a fork in this one, Pope? Should we?
I think so. I think it's just about done.
What do you fucking know about cooking? You eat crayons.
I mean, hey, you have to get them the exact right consistency, or they're too gooey.
They're too gooey. You heat them up and they fall off the bun. They just absorb into it sometimes. Anyway, that, of course, if you're unaware in the audience, is one of the great jokes about the Marine Corps. I don't even know where the fuck that got started, but they eat crayons. Somebody said it to me 2 years ago, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? He goes, yeah, you don't know the joke about Marines and crayons? No, I've never fucking heard of it. I'm in my 50s. No.
I think that more came out of my generation, veterans. That became a meme like in the mid 2000s because I remember hearing
Don't
it.
lie, Gerry. You're 60.
Well, I'm 60 now, but 2 to 3 years ago when I first heard it, I was not. So math. Anyway, we're out of here, guys. Thanks for coming and watching the show and hanging out, listening to us talk about it. I hope you got a little bit about the history of what happened with this. Some of the plot points weren't true. There's nothing I've ever seen that talked about how they did anything for the American shipping. That this was all about doing destruction, but then it became theft, and they just took the ships and sold them or used them. Gerry, COT Modern Warfare 6. It's not Modern Warfare, it's Black Ops 6. It's coming out. And we've already got a problem that they're still telling us that if you want to play the campaign, you still have to be logged on the internet. You can't play it offline. That's bullshit. They don't need to be watching your gameplay. That's fucking weird.
You are absolutely correct.
We just got, before I go, I want to point this out. YouTube listens to every show. They have robots that listen to our shows, every fucking word. And the other day we were talking about, what's his name? Dukes, Frank Dukes. Remember that? We were talking about it last week. I think it was Friday.
No.
Was it Friday? Saturday, maybe? No, it wasn't during the show with her. We were talking about it sometime last week. Frank Dukes came up and the movie Bloodsport.
Bloodsport,
and right after our show, I get offline or leave the show, go over to my right screen and open Firefox and go to YouTube to see, one, I want to see what our viewership was, and then I wanted to see what the latest videos are in my feed. Number one video in the feed, Frank Dukes.
Yeah. Were they listening?
There's no such thing as coincidence.
No.
I will talk about something on a show, and all of a sudden stuff will show up on Facebook about what I was talking about, a movie.
Yeah.
And I think that's
my news feed
weird.
On Microsoft. I use Microsoft Edge for my browser usually when I'm just shopping the net. And every time I'm looking at something on YouTube, it's the first thing that pops up in my news feed when I look at it the next time. Yeah. Big Brother is out there. It's real.
Absolutely listen to us. And that they want to listen in on Modern Warfare players playing the campaign. Bullshit. I won't talk in game anymore because I got a warning. And it was a private group. They still listen. And I'm just not going to be a part of that. So when we go on to Xbox, I prefer that we jump into a studio like this where we can talk privately, and I mute my microphone in the game because they are listening. Yep.
That's what Discord and Gilded are.
But anyway, that's it, guys. Go out there, watch some Piper Perabo movies. They're fun. They're worth it. She's hot. And she's funny too. She actually has good comic timing in roles. So she's got that adorable factor too. Like in the movie Rocky and Bullwinkle, she's adorable. She's interacting with a moose and squirrel. But anyway, guys, everybody, this is the first day of the week. Have a good week. We'll see you again on Wednesday. We have first show will be our Wednesday matinee film. And what are we talking about this week, Anima?
Hold on. I'm looking it up.
Wednesday is going to be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Ooh, good movie.
Yes.
Nice.
I like that movie. You guys are all welcome.
I'm looking
to
forward
join
to
us again.
watching that.
You haven't seen that?
It's such
Oh
a
my God.
dark event
No, I haven't.
in American history, and they put a twist to it that makes it just, I don't know. It's got a fairy tale ending.
Yes, it
So
does.
we're going to do that. And then Wednesday evening, 6:00 Central Time, I will have John M. Del Vecchio, best-selling author of The 13th Valley. He's also worked on other books that are all Vietnam War books. Either they're stories of being in Vietnam or what it's like coming home. And I've done the new covers to all of his books. He has a new novella coming out. I did not do the cover to this, but he has a new novella coming out, and that's what we're going to be talking about on Wednesday. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good one. She sent me a copy to read, so I'm going to be reading that. I have a hate relationship with two shooters and whatever else he said.
Well, yeah, because he's bad at shooting.
I got a question before we get out of here, too.
All right, before we go, what is it?
You've seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, right, Gary?
Right.
Tell me DiCaprio's character is not supposed to be loosely based on Clint Eastwood.
He's based on three people. Burt Reynolds, Clint Eastwood, and I think the dude, I forget his name. He ended up, I think he died young. That was on Alias Smith and Jones.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah,
the dark-haired guy. I think he's loosely based on him.
Yeah.
If I remember, because I think I read something about it a long time ago. I think that was the three actors who, because in the scene from the FBI that they showed the clip, that was actually Burt Reynolds' episode.
No shit. Wow. Cool.
Yeah. And Burt Reynolds, by the way, he and Clint Eastwood got fired the same day from their shows. And they're fired together in the same room, fired by the same man, and walked out.
I've heard that story. Yes.
And Burt looks at him and he says, wow, that hurt. He says, but I think I'm in a better position than you. And Clint's like, what do you mean? He says, he told me I can't act. I can learn to act. You can't get any shorter.
Ouch.
Yeah, I've heard that story. No, it's just,
I love it.
The guy starts off in a black and white Western. He ends up going to making spaghetti Westerns. It seems so much like Clint. It wasn't even funny, and he's conservative and everything, Yeah. Love that movie. And by the way, I'm a big Bruce Lee fan. And the fact, I understand his daughter being upset about that scene, but let there be no mistake. That's Bruce Lee. That's the way he was. He was a cocky little motherfucker.
Now I'm going to tell you that upset the Lee family.
Yeah, I know.
And
I know.
because that's not what happened. And the guy that did that was what is his name? Is a wrestler and judo expert, and he was the only stuntman that had fast enough moves to be able to deal with Bruce Lee. And great wrestler. What is it? He's the one who put Steven Seagal into a hold, and Seagal shit his pants. True story.
What?
Yeah.
And
Art
LaBelle just popped in my head. Art LaBelle.
But
so Art LaBelle was the stuntman who actually did a little fight with Bruce Lee. And Bruce Lee respected him after they did their little sparring, because he realized this guy knows what he's doing, and he respected Art LaBelle. And Art LaBelle respected Bruce Lee. And in that movie, that scene pissed the family up because they said, that's not what happened. And you're making Bruce look like a jackass. And he wasn't a jackass.
He wasn't a jackass, but he was cocky. He was
cocky, but he was very thoughtful and very philosophical. So they felt it was disparaging Bruce Lee in an unfair way. But Quentin says, "Fuck it, it's in my movie. What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
sue me."
like I said, I understood him
I'm
being
not
upset
changing
about it, but as a fan, I thought it
Gene
was pretty
LaBelle,
good.
not Art. Thank you. I knew it was LaBelle. I knew that last name because I remembered his last name.
LaBelle Locke.
Gene
Yes.
LaBelle. Go look up that story. It's an interesting story. Both stories. The story about him and Bruce Lee, and then look up the story about him making Steven Seagal shit himself. Great story. I really
I'm gonna try
look.
to be on there for
We're
that
going to
one,
be
Gary. I
doing.
love that movie.
We will be doing 2 Steven Seagal films. I'm going to do the first 2 movies, Above the Law and Hard to Kill.
That's the only 2
I
you need to
may
watch.
do on Military Monday Under Siege because my boss is in that movie.
Yeah.
And I do love that movie. Those are the 3 movies I like by him. The rest of them I could give 2 shits about.
Executive
I do
Order's
kind
okay,
of
but
like
he's
that
only in
one
it for about 15
where he's
minutes.
a cop in the city, and he's up against Tony something. He's a low-level gangster that he grew up with, and there's a scene in there where he quickly twists and turns the shotgun low, drops it low, and shoots the guy's leg off, which I thought that was fucking cool.
Yeah,
but I'm not a fan of that film, but I did enjoy it. But my 3 favorite Seagal films are Above the Law, Hard to Kill, and Under Siege.
Yeah,
Under Siege
that's
2
all you
is
need to watch.
stupid.
Yeah, Above the Law is the best one. His first movie is the best one he ever made.
Well, I'm putting them in order of them coming out. Above the Law, Hard to Kill, and Under Siege. Under Siege is clearly the better film of all 3.
Really?
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
I enjoy Above the Law more. I just like the.
Look, there's that scene in the bar. That's one of my favorite moments in a movie of a guy just wiping these guys out very quickly. Aikido, I tried Aikido, and I found it a very ineffective martial art for people who know how to fight. And Aikido was created for samurai if they became disarmed in combat in order to try to defend themselves against an opponent who's armed. That's what Aikido was created for. And it means the peaceful way. Aikido, the peaceful way. And it's taking the energy of your opponent and turning it against them. It's the whole idea.
That's what judo does too.
Seagal does. There are no strikes in Aikido. Like judo, there are no strikes. That's why I always thought that line was funny. Judo chop. There are no chops in judo. Only throws and grappling. So, but same thing with Aikido. And Aikido is it's an incredible martial art form. Don't get me wrong, but I don't find it to be very effective in like when you watch jiu-jitsu is, in my opinion, probably the single most effective fighting form there is for grappling in close quarter combat. I do like what the Israelis use, Krav Maga, which is created, and basically almost every major strike is it's to the soft points of the body. Most time it's testicles or eyes or throat strikes. You've seen people with Krav Maga in the Marine Corps, I'm sure. If you're deployed, you ran into that shit. Krav Maga it's an effective, but in an actual street fight, I wouldn't use it. It's like I just watched that new movie that just came out. Hold on, give me a second. I got to tell you this movie. Fuck.
We are never going to get out of here.
No, we're not.
You
guys are not trapped in here with me.
No.
No. I am.
But I'm going to try and make it for that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood show. I'm going to try.
Yeah, I'll try to be there for that too. I love that movie.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Let me find this movie because it just came out, and it's a martial arts film. It's one of the guys that's been in a film with Steven Seagal, and he is actually a very good martial artist. It shows that he teaches Taekwondo in the film, but in reality, it also shows jiu-jitsu because almost all of his major moves are from jiu-jitsu. The high kicks are definitely Taekwondo.
Doesn't Sharon Stone play his wife in Above the Law? Pretty sure that's Sharon Stone, isn't it?
It is her.
Yeah.
She hated him. Life. The name of the movie is Life After Fighting, and it stars Bren Foster. He also wrote it, and I give it about, I don't know. God, it's so hard to rate this film. I was poking fun at it because in the final fight, the big fight scene, there was so much absurdity in it. It was brutal and bloody, bone-breaking, crushing, the sounds you hear. But I was so annoyed that everything he did in real life would have killed somebody if he had done it. The strikes that he did to the body and to the head would have absolutely stopped their heart or fucking broke their skull or neck. And when he's finally trying to kill these guys, he makes it out like it's so fucking hard to do once he's got him in a hold. I'm like, dude, it takes half a second to kill a man in a hold. You can choose to not kill him and knock him out. But the fact is, you move forward on your arm, your controlling arm, you move forward on that and you kill them. They're not surviving that. Strikes to the neck from the side, punches. I'm not talking about chops. I'm talking about full-on punches to this area here. Lethal as fuck. So he's hitting these guys, and then they're getting back up to fight him. I'm like, fuck off.
Come on,
Is it crazy fucking final fight. Hitting him
you
in the
either
head
wouldn't
and
be
shit.
able to breathe or your neck would get snapped. Come on, man.
Just unbelievable shit. But I still enjoy the movie. So I give it like a C. I'm not going to give it a point. I'm going to give it a grade. I give this movie a C for at least trying to tell a story. The script needed to be rewritten a couple more times, and that third act really needed to be reworked for the action. I felt that was where it failed for me. It's just so over the top and unbelievable final scene. And logic issues too, just tons of logic issues. But I still give the film a C. And if you get a chance to see it and you like martial arts movies, Life After Fighting is the name of the movie, written and starring Bren Foster. And he also directed it, by the way. So I hope he learns. This is his first movie that he did on his own. So I hope he's able to do more, because I think with a little training, he'll do better.
Just saw an ad
past
for
that, I'm done.
Cool. Just saw an ad for a documentary I'm going to have to watch on Hulu. It's called Brats, and it's made by Andrew McCarthy, and it's all his buddies in it. Estevez.
Yeah, it's a documentary. Yeah, I saw a behind-the-scenes thing on it, and who really is in the Brat Club, you know?
Yeah.
And of course, the club was named after the Rat Pack with Sinatra and the gang. And so they were called the Brat Pack. And like Tom Cruise was technically part of that group. So many actors, but some are like, well, no, he's not in the pack. Demi Moore's not in it. Yeah, she is. She's totally in the pack because she was part of that group of young people coming up at that moment.
Go check it out.
And they're all amazingly talented. Ali Sheedy, all of them. Although I heard she was the most difficult to work with. But anyway, that's it, guys. I think we've talked enough. Have a great fucking week. I'll see you Wednesday.
Bye, guys.
Chief will be on tomorrow. I always forget to mention that. Chief will be on tomorrow. So what's he talking about tomorrow, Martin?
The Negotiator. The one with Kevin Spacey.
Ooh, good one.
Sam Jackson.
That's a good fucking movie. And they have the argument debate over whether the main character dies at the end of Shane. I like that.
Yeah.
So in the movie, they have this debate whether Alan Ladd is dead at the end, the character Shane. So anyway, have a great week, guys.